Anvari, the king of words. Welcome to our English learning series. Imagine a poet. His words can be as sharp as a sword. They can cut through lies and criticize powerful kings. But his words can also be as sweet as honey. They can praise a king so beautifully that he gives the poet a room full of gold. His poems could make people think deeply and feel strong emotions. This poet, who was a master of both praise and protest, was Anvari. Anvari was a master of combining different worlds. In the world of poetry, he was called the prophet of Qasida writers. A Qasida is a long, formal poem. In the world of science, he was an expert in mathematics and astronomy. And in the world of art, he was a talented musician. He brought all this knowledge together in his amazing poems. He lived in the 12th century. This was during the time of the Great Seljuk Empire. He lived in the great region of Khorasan. He was born in Khorasan, near modern-day Afghanistan and Turkmenistan. He is famous for writing some of the most difficult and intelligent poems ever. His poems are full of science, philosophy, and clever wordplay. He was a true genius of his time. But Anvari's life was also a story of luck and bad luck. Sometimes he was rich and famous. Other times, he was poor and full of regret. He was a complex man for a complex time. In his early life, Anvari was a student of science. He studied at the famous Mansouriya school in the city of Dos, Iran. He was a brilliant student. He loved mathematics and astronomy. He was on his way to becoming a great scientist. But one day, everything changed. He saw a rich and famous court poet passing by. The poet was wearing beautiful clothes and had many servants. Anvari thought to himself, "I have so much knowledge, but I am poor. This man only has poetry, but he is rich." In that moment, he decided to become a poet. He wrote a powerful poem and presented it to the Seljuk king, Sultan Sanjar. The Sultan loved the poem. He invited Anvari to become a poet at his court. Anvari quickly became the most famous poet in the kingdom. He was known as the king of praise poetry. There is a funny story that shows just how famous he was, called the poetry thief in the market. One day, Anvari was walking in the market. He saw a crowd of people. A man was standing and saying Anvari's poems, but he said they were his own. People loved the poems and were praising him. Anvari went to the man and asked, "Whose beautiful poems are these?" The man proudly said, "They are the poems of Anvari." Anvari asked, "Do you know Anvari?" The man replied, "What do you mean?" "I am Anvari." Anvari laughed and said, "I have heard of people who steal poems, but I have never seen someone steal the poet himself." But Anvari was not just a praise poet. He had a very sharp and critical mind. He often used clever stories to criticize the world around him. Here is a powerful story about injustice called "The Fool and the Cruel Ruler." In this story, a wise man said to a foolish man, "The ruler of our city is a shameless beggar." The fool was surprised. He said, "How can he be a beggar? A single jewel from his hat could feed us for years." The wise man replied, "My poor friend, you are mistaken. Do you know where all his wealth comes from? Those jewels are the tears of my children and the blood of your orphans. This story teaches us that the luxury of a cruel ruler is built on the suffering of his people. Anvari also told a funny but wise story about fear called The Fleeing Fox. In this story, a fox was running for its life. Another fox saw him and asked, "What's wrong? Why are you running?" The first fox said, "The king's men are capturing all the donkeys." The second fox said, "But you are not a donkey. Why are you so afraid?" The first fox replied, "Yes, I know that, but the king's men are fools. They don't know the difference between a fox and a donkey. I am afraid they will put a saddle on my back too." This means, when a ruler is unjust and his followers are foolish, no one is safe. Even innocent people are in danger. But Anvari's happy time at the court did not last. He made a terrible mistake. As an astronomer, he made a wrong prediction about a great storm. When the storm never came, people laughed at him. He lost the king's favor and left the court. He felt that trouble always found him, and he wrote his last poems about pain and his terrible luck. In one famous and funny poem, he joked about his own bad luck in life. Every disaster that comes from the sky, before it hits the ground, asks, "Where is Anvari's house?" This shows Anvari's dark sense of humor. It feels like all the trouble in the world was always looking for him. Anvari's poems are full of wisdom. Here are a few of his other famous ideas. There are 4 rules for a good life. Anvari wrote that a good person does 4 things. First, be generous when you have wealth. Second, do not hurt your friends, because a friend is a mirror to your soul. Third, control your tongue when you are angry. Fourth, if someone who hurt you says sorry, forgive them completely. My hand, when it held the jewel of contentment, was full. Greed had no power over it. Anvari teaches us about the inner fight between contentment, being happy with what you have, and greed, always wanting more. He says contentment is like a beautiful jewel. When you have it, you already feel rich. But sometimes, we make a mistake and follow greed for a moment. Anvari says that when this happens, our good heart and strong spirit must fight back and win against greed. Patience cannot calm me. Logic cannot help me. When my beloved pushes me away, where is death to save me from this pain? This is a very emotional poem about a broken heart. Anvari shows a moment of complete despair. He feels that nothing can help him. When the person you love says no to you, the pain feels very strong. It feels so hard that even death seems like an easy way out. This poem shows the deep and powerful feelings of a lover in pain. "Oh, separation, you have no end. Oh, love, you have killed me with 1,000 sorrows, and is even this not enough for you?" This is another of Anvari's powerful poems about the pain of love. He speaks directly to separation and love as if they are people. He says being far from his beloved feels endless. He says that love has already killed him with so much sadness. He then asks a powerful question: "Isn't all this suffering enough for you?" It shows that love can sometimes feel endless and full of sadness. A person who does evil to others will receive evil in return. This is a lesson about karma. Anvari reminds us that our actions have consequences. If you do good, you will receive good. If you do bad, you will receive bad. Anvari is believed to be buried in the city of Balkh, in modern-day Afghanistan. However, the exact location of his tomb is not known today. His true tomb is in the hearts of people who love great poetry. He is a great hero of Persian literature. Anvari is one of the most important poets in Persian history. He took the art of the Qasida to its highest level. He was a master of language. He perfectly combined the world of science with the world of poetry. His poems are difficult, but they are full of genius. He showed poets can be critics, scientists, and thinkers. He had a huge influence on all the great poets who came after him, like Sadi and Hafez. Anvari was not just famous in Persia. His words also traveled to Europe. In 1789, an English writer named William Kirkpatrick translated one of his most powerful poems. The poem is called The Tears of Khorasan. It was one of the first Persian poems to become famous in the Western world. That is why Anvari will always be celebrated. He is the great master of the praise poem, and he is the brave and honest voice of his time. Thank you for learning about Anvari with us. Which of Anvari's clever stories did you like the most? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more videos about Persian culture and history.